All right. Well, hopefully we have a couple more people hop on as we get started. But I first wanted to introduce myself. My name is Connie Henderson. I am Vice President of Placement this year. And I wanted to welcome you to our Appointed Leadership Open House. Thank you for joining tonight. I want to give a moment for my elect, Janet, if she is still on, to go ahead and say hi and introduce yourself as well.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just having some technical difficulties earlier. My name is Janet Gardner and I'm Vice President-elect, Vice President Placement-elect this year. And welcome, everybody. I'm glad everybody showed up. It's like Connie said, it's such a nasty night out. So.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Thank you for showing up. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. The first thing is, do I have any volunteers to read our mission statement? We like to start all of our meetings and presentations and whatnot with our mission statement. So would anyone want to quickly volunteer and read it for us?
I'll do it.
Yay, thank you.
Okay. The Junior League of Boston is an organization of women whose mission is to advance women's leadership for meaningful community impact through volunteer action, collaboration, and training.
Thank you. I think that was Heather, right?
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, so here's our agenda. We're going to talk about why appointed leadership. We are going to talk about the benefits of appointed leadership, importance of appointed leadership. We're going to quickly review the roles, how to apply, how you can dig deeper into the roles, because we're just going to kind of do a high-level overview. And then there will be time for Q&A. We have both appointed leaders on the call with us tonight, and then we also have some vice presidents and some vice president-elects. And they are more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. So to kick us off, our first question is, why appointed leadership? And so I am going to kick the first part of this over to Katie McClure, who's on here, and she is currently the chair of Kids in the Kitchen. And so she will share, why did you take on an appointed leadership?
Thank you, Connie. So as she said, I am Katie McClure, but you might have known me as Katie Keene until just a couple years ago. So I use both my names, but I've been the chair now of the Kids in the Kitchen program for 2 years. And the reason I took on an appointed leadership role was honestly mainly because of my deep love for the Kids in the Kitchen program. I'd been a participating kind of committee member for several years, and then had two fabulous leaders who honestly just needed a break and couldn't do it after like 7 years. And so I put my name in to kind of take on that mantle. And it was a little bit intimidating because they did such a great job. But it's such an important program, not just for our junior league members. I know our volunteers love being a member of our committee. It's been such a long running program. But we're also a really important part of the school, which has been really great to kind of get embedded in and start to feel. Having been at the school for, I think, almost 10 years, the teachers know us, the school administrators know what we're doing, the families get really excited. We have siblings that say, I can't wait till I'm old enough to join the program. And, every summer, I'm sure Meg will share the same. It's just so exciting to see that we have a wait list of like 50 kids every year. So knowing what an important program it was, I didn't want to see it go kind of like without a leader, or heaven forbid ever stop. And so it's been a really interesting 2 years. I learned a lot the first year. There's a big learning curve. There's so much going on in the background. But we have a committee. I have a committee of 25 volunteers that work with us. So there is no lack of effort or excitement and help. And it's just been a really great experience. And I'm certainly hoping to keep doing it for at least one more year to come, if not many more.
Awesome. Thank you. And I just had a follow-up question for you. What would you say to someone that is hesitant or maybe is a little hesitant to step into an appointed leadership role?
I would say to just go for it. I mean, there's everything is really hard until you've done it. And there's so much support. I would say, we have like everyone on this call, there's so many people that you can reach out to and just say, gosh, what do I do here? I need help. I don't know what to do here. We get that, both from like our VP of community, but also even from each other. Another shout out to Meg. We do a lot of collaborating between the arts program and the Kids in the Kitchen program. We run at the same time at the same school. And so it's like, we almost have like 4 co-chairs of, some of the logistics stuff, which is really great.
Awesome, thank you. So our next speaker is Miranda Black, who is chair of the Recruitment and Outreach Committee. So same question for you, Miranda. Why did you take on an appointed leadership role?
Yeah, great to meet everyone. So I took on appointed leadership. I think of it like twofold. Part of it is what I wanted to give to the league, and part of it was also a little personal of what I hoped to gain from leadership. This is my 3rd year in the league. Unlike Katie had a very clear path to her role. This is my first time in membership at all, and I'm a chair. I did charity gala and I did the communications and technology committee. So I got a view of what the league was doing. But I know that recruitment is such an important piece. It's a cornerstone of the league. So I was excited to get involved in that piece. And I'd imagine all of us have had those moments where you see something in the league and you think, I wish we could do it this way, or what if we tried this other way? And that's kind of where I was. And so it's given me the opportunity to grow personally. I've never led a committee before. And so what I got out of it personally was getting to learn how to delegate, how to get people excited to get involved in things, but also, feeling empowered to put my ideas out there. Like Katie was saying, there's such great support in the league that sometimes I think I have a crazy idea and I go to someone and say, what do you think of this? And then I find the support to say, I love that. Here's how you can do it. Or why don't we try this instead? So for me, it was really about wanting to give back to the league and help the recruitment aspect, but also wanting to grow personally and professionally by being a leader.
I love that. How has, if at all, but how has appointed leadership helped you grow professionally? I know that you had just mentioned that. Has it been able to help you grow professionally?
I think some of it is self-confidence. Honestly, I help manage a foundation, and our board is a lot of lawyers. I work at a law firm. It's a lot of lawyers who can be very intimidating and very scary. And so I didn't, speak much. And now I feel a lot more confident in those meetings, giving my ideas and my input, because I know that I have good ideas and I know how to present them in a very clear way because I've had that practice with my committee. I've been able to do that in a safe space first, which is really nice.
Awesome. Yes, I agree that the Junior League definitely provides a safe space for you to try on different hats and try out different things that maybe are a little nerve-wracking to do at work, or you'd rather test it out with Junior League than do it at work, and who knows, could be bad and not go so well. But thank you so much for sharing, Miranda. So now we're going to talk about what you have been able to gain as a leader in Junior League. So the first person that I am going to kick this off is to Meg. And so the question for you, Meg, is what have you been able to gain as a leader in Junior League of Boston? And Meg is chair of GLB Arts, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
And our sitter called in sick today, so I have been single momming. So if you hear baby coos, she's next to me and I'm trying to keep her entertained with a wet rag, if you're wondering, and it's very fun for her right now. But hi, I'm Meg, chair of GLB Arts, like Connie said. And I have gained quite a few different things. I think the first thing that stands out is a really deeper meaning in the work that I've done in the Junior League. I've been a part of the arts since I joined. And as a individual volunteer, I had a lot out of interacting with the students and being able to see them from session to session. But as a leader, I've been able to really see the value it's provided school administrators, the families, develop a really close relationship. I think it's created like a deeper meaning behind the work that I was doing. And that I think creates a lot more passion and excitement. Selfishly and personally, it gave me like a new look on life, if you will. I was in a rut at work it's like you have the same project, you do the same stuff over and over again. And I was looking for something different, but something that wasn't going to keep me at my desk longer nights, longer days at work. And so being able to take this on allowed me to put on a different hat in the league, but it also gave me a way to kind of like explore new things and feel new challenges and accomplishments without it having to be tied to my desk job. And that was really important too, because it gave me just new things to do, and it gave me a lot more exciting things to do. There's a lot that I've developed at my job skill set wise. So it's fun to be able to use that outside of a client meeting or an Excel spreadsheet.
We all love Excel spreadsheets, don't we?
Don't we all?
So follow-up question for you. What advice would you give to someone who is maybe thinking about doing appointed leadership, but might be a little hesitant or is not quite sure it is for them yet?
I would say ask. I was hesitant to take on the arts chair position 2 years ago, and I spoke with the current chair who transferred to a different league when she moved, and she gave me a lot of great insights. It gave me a kind of an extra boost of confidence, but also was able to give me like a really real, honest opinion of what was great about it, what wasn't, also like where she felt she could have done better at, or what, is easy to replicate and make it easy on you in the future. Gives you a really good like firsthand look. I think speaking to the chairs who are there now, but also even like the VPs of those different divisions is super helpful just to kind of understand more specifically what that role is like, because we get those like 3 sentences explaining it, but really there's a lot more behind the scenes. So asking and just kind of chatting around with people, they can give you a lot more in like their firsthand experience, which helps you understand what's required of you as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I totally agree that reaching out and talking to current chairs is fantastic. And every single chair of a leadership or a committee or a council, whether it's internal or external, would absolutely be happy to answer any questions for anyone. So that's really great advice. Next, we're going to kick it to Caitlin Gass. Same question. What have you been able to gain as a leader in Junior League of Boston? And she is currently an active program advisor.
Yes, thank you. So I am in my 2nd year of the league, and I have gained the confidence to like definitely work outside of my comfort zone. Being an active member advisor, I've had the opportunity to work on lots of different things I don't usually work on in my everyday life or in my job, such as like organizing events for for different members, for like we did the Fall Fest, I'm doing like the Cozy Night In, and also like just understanding all the steps that it takes to actually like organize a successful event and like get feedback from that event in order to like make things better for next year. It's definitely given me the confidence to try to take chances and try new things at my job. Confidence is, I think, being in this role, I definitely feel more confident in my job at work. So like that is a huge plus. I've also had the opportunity to work on meeting new people and making new connections. I feel like when you're organizing events and you're going to these events, you have lots of impromptu conversations with people. So I've got to meet lots of new amazing women that are in the league and making new friends, which is awesome. And before I joined the league, and definitely before I was an advisor, I was like, I'll stand in the corner, I'll wait till somebody comes to me. I will not come up and talk to people. So I feel like it's definitely given me the confidence and the skill set to be able to go up and have conversations with people that like I am more comfortable with that. And I can definitely take that into, my job. I'm an assistant principal, so I have conversations with random people kind of all the time. So I just now feel like I have more confidence in doing that. I also have understood now, like, okay, I was like, why are we doing like active member events, signature events, like being in it? I'm understanding a little bit more now why events are like where they're supposed to be, and like being in the background. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And I'm able to understand like a little bit more understanding the vision of the league and where we're headed.
That's awesome. I love that it gave you more confidence. That's so great to hear. And yeah, it does. It helps you, appointed leadership, I do think helps you to understand, the vision and the mission and where we're going, the strategic sort of planning where we're going with the league. Any advice for maybe a member who is interested but not quite sure appointed leadership is a fit for them, or, anything that you could say to a hesitant member?
Just apply. I think it's important to just apply. I was like, wanted to be a new member advisor. And then I talked to Ashley and she kind of really explained what the active member role was. And I was a little bit hesitant at first, but I like absolutely love it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to apply for a bunch of things and see what happens. Just take the chance. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that's great advice. All right, so now we're going to pivot and we are going to talk to some current vice presidents and some current vice president-elects who will next year be vice presidents. So Caitlin Berger is on the call with us and she is currently the vice president of community. And so my question for her is, why are appointed leadership roles so important to the Junior League of Boston?
Hi, ladies. Thanks so much for having me tonight. And thank you, Connie, for hosting us. And I'll just say right off the bat, Katie and Meg are two appointed leaders that sit under community, and they are unbelievable rock stars. And they're the perfect example as to why appointed leaders are so important. These women are really in charge of, 20, 30, 40 total members and their experience and how they enjoy the league. And they're also in charge, because this is an external placement, they're in charge of the relationship that we have with the school that this program is running in. And so it's the cornerstone of what we do in community. They are the conduit for everything. Now, that's not to say that they do it alone. They have people working they have everybody in their placement, and they have a council to support them. But I mean, these ladies can and have done it by themselves. So they don't really need the support, but I will say it's incredibly important. And I have found as a league member, when I'm in a leadership role, that's when I get the most. These women are giving the most, but they're also getting the most back from their experience in the league.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so true. You are giving a lot when you're in a leadership position, but you're also getting just as much back. So that's a really wonderful perspective that I had never thought of before. Do you have any advice for any member that's maybe a little hesitant and not sure if this is something that they're ready for?
I think that the advice given today has been so great. Reach out, just apply, because there's so many more conversations to be had after you apply. Just because you apply doesn't mean somebody's going to put you in a role. A lot of times, sometimes we'll have conversations. I'll talk to somebody and be like, you know what? You don't actually want this. Now that I'm talking to you and learning more about it, I'm going to send you over to Ashley because she's got what you want. So even just by talking, I've had conversations with people that are thinking about appointed leadership, and at the end, we just come up with the perfect placement for them next year. Don't feel like by applying, you're locking yourself into something for next year. There's a lot of conversations, a lot of, intel that you can gather to make next year the best year you've had at the Junior League.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Lots of conversations, and it's always about a really good fit about what you want. And so yeah, great advice. Thank you, Caitlin. So next we're going to hear from Jessica Craig. She is the Vice President of Training elect. And so next year she will take on our training council. So the same question for you. Why are appointed leaders so important to the Junior League of Boston?
Sure. Yeah. Happy to be here with everybody tonight, and thank you, Connie, for hosting this. I guess, I definitely agree with what Caitlin had to say about, putting in a lot of work, but getting a lot back. Before I did my VP of training elect role, I did appointed leadership. I was the mentorship lead for a couple of years within training council. So I've been kind of through that piece too, and now I've chosen to take on more responsibilities, so it didn't scare me away. So, I think there's so much to learn. I think probably the thing I got back the most from it was just how much I learned about junior league and kind of about how everything kind of works. And then just meeting a bunch of people too, I thought was really super helpful. But specifically within training, we've got kind of two appointed leadership roles. We have the mentorship lead, and then we have the board seat initiative lead. And both of those programs are really important. The mentorship program in particular, we saw after COVID, I think people are really looking for connection and advice, and it doesn't have to necessarily be junior league advice. It can just be, people looking for friendship or career advice. And we have so many smart women in this league that have so much advice and so much, thoughtfulness and time to give. That program, I think there's so much potential to even make it more than what it is right now. And I think, finding somebody who's passionate about mentorship and, really kind of trying to drive that program this year, I think would be amazing. And the board seat initiative, one of our big priorities in the league is really trying to get, more women on board seats. And, really we're trying to, make sure people have the proper training to do that. And so, both of those are really incredibly important positions within training council and really good initiatives. So, very important, but overall, I just, the appointed leadership, if you're on the fence, apply it. I jumped right into the mentorship role kind of mid-year because we had kind of a situation where someone moved from Boston, and I wasn't sure what I was doing exactly that first year when I was thrown into the role, but you kind of learn as you go, and there's so many people around to support you.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Any final thoughts or advice on appointed leadership?
I think everything that's been said here, just go for it. And yeah, I mean, and to Caitlin's point too, if, in applying, if we find maybe a better spot for you, people really are thoughtful about kind of where we position people to try to be successful and also kind of with what they're interested in, what they're passionate about. So I think, just apply and, it will work out. None of us go into this kind of like knowing everything, or at least I don't really think most people do. Yeah, maybe there's a couple of special cases of people who've been in the league for 20 years or whatever, but most people, we're learning as we go, and that's kind of what is expected. And, that's kind of how you grow as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point, that we definitely don't go into these roles knowing everything. And, being an appointed leader, you're expected to, it's kind of the expectation is that you will take something on that maybe you don't know everything, and it's just an opportunity to learn. So that's a wonderful point. Yes, thank you. Our next VP is VP-elect of Fund Development, Michelle Isherwood. Same question for you. Why are appointed leaders so important to the Junior League of Boston?
Great. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Connie, for organizing this, and thanks everybody for attending. We have a big job on fund development, and without the appointed leaders, we just wouldn't get it done. Fund development raises the money for Junior League of Boston. So as most of you are aware, we have Gala, we have a Prairie Ski, we have several events, plus some of the changes coming for this coming year with some more exciting events. But without appointed leaders, it would be nearly impossible to get any of that done. Fund development truly is a team sport, because without everyone kind of managing and planning and getting that and making the ask and really motivating our members and getting the word out in the community both and within the organization, we wouldn't be successful. So appointed leaders for fund development really are essential to the whole process. I don't know. I know I couldn't do it without our chairs, both for fundraising events and signature events. Where this year we've added a couple new roles, a sponsorship lead and a marketing and PR lead. Those roles are essential for us to raise money and to be successful. I would say hop right in, echoing what everyone said. I started out as an appointed leader with the board seat initiative for this league, and then became VP-elect as a slated leader. So yeah, half the time I don't know what I'm doing, but it's okay because everyone's super supportive. We're expected to learn as we get into these positions. That's why we're here. So you know, ask questions. This is the place you can make mistakes, and everyone's going to be supportive and really help you along. And you know, maybe not only will you learn something, you'll have some fun along the way.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes. I don't know if she originated this quote, but Michelle Lentz, a former president from a few years ago, used to always say, "You can't break the league." So, you know, we're here to help you learn and grow and try anything out. Any final thoughts, Michelle, about, you know, anyone that may be hesitant or unsure if, you know, how maybe they do want to try Gala, but they're nervous, or maybe they do want to try fundraising and signature events. Any final advice for them?
I think the thought is just like Nike said, just do it. You won't be alone. You know, there's our committees in our area will have 2 or 3 chairs on each of those. So you're not going to be alone. You're going to be well supported. I'm here. The league's here. Our board is here. So yeah, just jump in and take the leap. We'll be able to help you. And again, if life happens, we'll support you and you do what you can. We're going to meet you where you're at. So don't worry. It'll be fun. I promise.
It's always fun. It's always fun when Michelle's around too, I have to say.
I try.
Well, thank you all to all of our panelists for sharing your insight and your experience as an appointed leader and why appointed leaders are so important. Is there any appointed leader or VP that is on the call that would like to share anything to the people on the call or that are watching this later, since it's being recorded, that we didn't get to a chance to say?
I don't have anything to say that hasn't already been said. Hello, everyone. Ashley McGowan, VP of membership. And, you know, the only thing that I will say, honestly, you know, just to kind of echo what everyone else said, appointed leaders are the glue, honestly, that holds the league together. Yes, there are the VPs that oversee each of the different committees, but honestly, it's you all that, you know, that essentially keep everything running. From a membership standpoint, I can speak to the fact that, you know, our team is really, really great. We meet once a month. We try to ensure that everyone has the support that they need and the resources that they need. You know, if they feel like they're lacking at any point, I'm always like, tell me. That's what we're here for. And we try to figure it out. Like, can we make this work? You know, we honestly, you know, we're here to support any of our appointed leaders. But at the end of the day, when it comes to, you know, anything that happens within this league, it's because there's been, you know, a chair that's been behind it, that's helped put it together. And, you know, it's awesome. It's really awesome to see what each leader does and how it impacts the entire league. So that little thing that you might be in charge of, like, hey, you know, maybe you're putting on a social event for, you know, for a group, that means something. And it's really cool. And the fact that you can put your name to it, you know, and how it can impact, you know, year over year, maybe it's something that repeats because of something that you put together, or, you know, something that some idea that you had, you know, works really well. You know, it's a really great, you know, it's a really great opportunity across the board for anyone. I also echo, give it a try. Like, if there's something that you're interested in, so say you have no experience in that particular, you know, in that particular field, but you're very interested in it, apply. You know, there's so much learning that you can get, like, right on the job within the role. And, you know, even for, you know, myself, I tell this to a lot of people, I've been under fund development for years. So when I switched over to membership, it was, you know, it was a learning for me. But at the end of the day, you know, I had a full year of, you know, learning behind Caitlin, who was VP, you know, the year that I was in my elect year. And you just learn, you pay attention to everything, you listen, you observe, you attend everything that you can, and you'll find that you can do it, anything that you want. So that's my speech.
Great. I love it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. And totally agree. you learn as you go, and there's really great people to learn from. So thank you again for sharing. I do want to take a moment to go through the various roles that are available for appointed leadership. I'm not going to dive deep into them. If you have any questions about any of these appointed leadership roles, feel free to reach out to the vice president-elect for that particular council that it is under, or you are more than welcome to reach out to Janet and I about any of these roles. But these 6 councils that you will see right here are all councils that have appointed leadership roles. So the first one, we have a board of director. There's a couple of appointed leadership roles for that. Executive management team, community membership, fund development, and training. And so I just wanted to go through and share the various roles that we have on each of those councils. So first, a little out of order. We have assistant to the president. So this is someone that would work directly with our upcoming president, Sarah Given, in the role. And was it on the board of directors? If you are interested in that. On the executive management team, you would get to work with the current elects. So that would be Jessica, who's on the call with us. That's Michelle, who's on the call with us. And it would be Janet, who's on the call with us. And so we have an advocacy chair, we have a communications chair, and a public affairs chair. So those are the 3 roles on the executive management team that are available for appointed leadership. Our community appointed leadership, and like Caitlin said, this really is kind of the cornerstone of what Junior League is. We have a community service council grant lead, so it's some grant writing. We have the community impact all league service lead. So this role came out of feedback that we've received over the last few years from members saying that they want more opportunities to volunteer in the community. And so this year we've done much better of putting those opportunities on the calendar. And so we want to continue to build that up. So if that's something that you're interested in, helping members be able to volunteer at external placements, not as their placement, excuse me, but to volunteer in the community on some Saturdays that they're available. We also have Jail Boston Arts. We have our Done in a Day chair. We have our Jeremiah program lead. We have STEM, and then we also have Kids in the Kitchen. So those are our community appointed leadership roles. And then we have our membership appointed leadership roles. So we have our recruitment and outreach chair. You heard from Miranda tonight. We have active program chair and active program advisor. You heard from Caitlin tonight. We have our membership social events chairs. They have done an amazing job over the last few years. This year, has been amazing as well in terms of putting all league social events on for members. We have our new member advisors. We have some transfer program appointed leadership, and then sustainer program appointed leadership. One point that I want to say about the sustainer program appointed leadership is they do request that you are a sustainer. So if you're an active member and you want to stay an active member, then I do not recommend going for any of the sustainer program chairs. We have our fund development appointed leadership. And as Michelle said, this is really important. These chairs are the ones that are really out there raising money for the Junior League, raising money for our community programs that we have. So that way we can have these awesome Kids in the Kitchen and arts and STEM. So we have signature events chair. We have fundraising events chair, we have marketing and advertising lead, and we have sponsorship lead. And so I'm really excited to see what Michelle and her team can do next year, because I think it's going to be fantastic. And then finally, we have training appointed leadership. So this is the board seat initiative lead, and then also the mentorship program lead. I was in the mentorship program many years ago, and I had a super successful year. I highly recommend the mentorship program. The mentee that I had and I are actually still friends to this day, and it's been about 6 or 7 years. So highly recommend those. I'm going to backtrack here in a moment because my slides are out of order, of course. And so I just wanted to show you, if you're thinking to yourself, how do I apply? I'm going to show you. So when you log in to your membership page, the Junior League of Boston, and you're on your membership page, your member home, up at the top where it says your name, right here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 down, you can look at the appointed leadership application, links directly to the Microsoft form. And then next to that is the appointed leadership catalog. We got a brief overview of the appointed leadership catalog tonight, but this catalog goes in depth into each of the role in terms of the skills that you can gain, skills that if you feel like you're really strong, it might be a good fit for you, gives a good description, and can give kind of an overview of the expectations for the role. So if you're looking at applying, it's there linked, or you can look at all of the roles here. So with that, does anyone have any questions, whether it's about the appointed leadership process, whether it's about any particular roles, any questions that you might have for our appointed leaders or for our VPs that are on the call with us? Any questions? And Sarah has so graciously put the appointed leadership catalog link in the chat for you. Thank you, thank you. One question that I know that I had when I was going through the appointed leadership application was, so I submit my application, you know, into the form. And so then what? What do we do after that? So are there any VPs that are willing to share kind of what they do from their perspective of once people apply with appointed leadership? Caitlin?
Yeah, once everyone applies, we go through and read your applications. And then if you've applied, say, for multiple things, like you applied for something in community and then also in membership, Ashley and I would chat, and we'd probably both schedule time with you, Zoom, phone call, in person, just to kind of talk about your application and what you're looking for. My first question is always, what do you want to get out of your league year next year? So that we can really get to the bottom of what's going to make you have the best year you've had at the Junior League. And then once we go through that, like, there may be kind of a lag time between we're getting more people coming in, and maybe Ashley thinks of you'd be great at one role, I think you'd be great at another role. Ashley and I kind of talk through, see, it's a big puzzle piece, you know, trying to figure out where everybody should go. Now, you might say like, oh no, I want one role and one role only. Now, some people are coming in that way as well. And in that case, you would just be talking to that one VP. It's not as if you know exactly what you want and are dead set on that, we're not going to try to put you in a place that you don't want to be. I don't want to get that impression. But if you're kind of open, you've put several different things, then we might be kind of playing around with what makes sense with the other applications we got in.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. And then what if somebody goes through this whole process, and this is open for anyone, but what if somebody goes through this process and they decide, you know what, I do want to stick to general placement next year. I think maybe I want to give it another year, you know, is that okay? To be like, I don't know, maybe appointed leader. Yeah, of course.
It's your league. It's your experience. You do you. No one's going to pressure you. We want you to have the best time. So, you know, if you come at the end and say, I mean, this happened with 2 people with me last year. I mean, hopefully this doesn't say something bad about me, but they were both going into, you know, new jobs. One was going back to school, like all this stuff. And they're like, and they have been rock star volunteers. They both stepped up. And then one of them actually is now co-chairing. She ended up doing it, but took her a couple months, but she got there. You know, they knew themselves, they knew what they could give at the beginning of the year, and they have been awesome resources for me as just volunteers that kind of want to give an extra 10%, and it's been great. So no one's going to be upset. Nobody's gonna be mad. They're gonna remember your phone number and they're gonna text you for next year, but otherwise there's no risk.
Totally. Yeah, and we have a question in the chat from Heather. When is the application deadline? So we would really like to get applications in before May 1st. So it will officially kick off April 1st, but it is linked on the website right now and open. We have actually gotten a couple of people already. But yes, we hope that applications will be submitted by May 1st. So that way throughout the month of May, we can have those conversations. VP elects can have those conversations with their potential appointed leadership chairs, co-chairs. And so that way we can kick it off really June 1 with being like, hey, here we go. The new year starts in 1 month. So what do we got to do ahead of time to prep you so that way you feel successful on July 1? So that's sort of the timeline. That's a great question, Heather. And as Sarah says in the chat, yes, training will be provided during the summer. Like many of our VP and VP elects and even our appointed leaders have said, a lot of times people go into these roles and they're not necessarily the quote unquote experts on it. Maybe they've never done anything like this before. And so we as a league are a training organization, and part of that training organization aspect is to give you the training to try something new. So we don't let you just, off on your own. There's many people that are here to help you, but we do provide training over the summer for leaders. Are there any other questions or comments? Anything that anyone wants to share? I know we're early, but I'm happy to give the floor to anyone who would like to say any final thoughts or have any final questions.
I'll say one additional comment. So in terms of applications, there'll be times where maybe a role might fill, or there might be several applicants for a particular role. One thing I do want to say that we try to do is, if you are interested in an appointed leadership role, we'll try to make something work for you. So for example, let's say you are looking for, let's just say, the social chair for membership, and it's already filled, or there's been several applications for it. We might look to see if there's something else in membership, or maybe there's something else in another, council that is similar that might be a great fit for you. So we do talk about that, and we try to place you if you want to be in an appointed leadership role. So want to throw that out there to make sure, don't feel discouraged if you find out oh, this role's already been taken, because we're in the back talking about what can we do with this person, because we think this person would be a great, fit for a leadership role. So we are looking to make sure you're filled into a role that makes sense for you as well.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Absolutely. Okay. So thank you all again so much for coming tonight. Whether you are interested in thinking about applying, please do. Please reach out to any of the women that have talked tonight about their experience. I can say personally, I know for a fact that they will be more than willing to talk you through what you are thinking about. No pressure from them at all. Please feel free to reach out to myself and Janet at placement@jlboston.org with any questions, any concerns. More than happy to talk through what you are thinking. Again, hop on a Zoom call, have a phone call, we can meet in person. We are here to support you and help you and have the best possible league experience. So yes, apply. And please email me with any questions or call me. I don't care. Text me would probably be better, but thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope you have a really great night. And again, please for any questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope everyone has a good night.
Hi, everybody.